Okay guys, it's time for us to start our decorative bowl project. This is going to be a 3D project, and this just happens to be one sample. Yours might look a little bit different. And ours will be a little bit of a different shape. We're going to use a different form for ours. And so I'm going to put this aside and show you the materials we're using. So this is originally what it looks like. It's in a roll, and this is called plaster cloth. And so plaster cloth is very similar to what if you broke your arm or your leg or something and had a cast on. At least a long time ago, they might have fancier things now, but this would be the same material that would be used to create that cast. And so this is activated by water. It's cloth that's infused with plaster. And so plaster is created with gypsum, a mineral out of the earth. And so once this particular kind of plaster cloth is just in water, it kind of activates the plaster and it gets really soft, and you can mold it and sculpt with it. So we're starting with some pre-cut pieces to make it a little easier. And we have these bowls here for our form. The bowls will not end up being a permanent part of your artwork. This is just the structure that we're using to build our bowl on, to give it its shape. And so the water may have some white powder already in it. That's totally fine. Please don't pour this down the sink. It will clog the sinks badly. And so this powdery substance will actually, if some of that gets in with yours, it's going to help it anyway. It'll make it a little bit more smooth. It'll fill in some of those holes. So I'm just dipping this in here, and you can see how floppy it gets. Then I'm going to just put that right into my bowl. And so these bowls are kind of slippery, and I got these because the other bowl that I made our sample with, it was really hard to get it out of there. And so I'm hoping we're going to experiment, and hopefully these will be easier to release our bowls once they're dry. So that's in there. I'm just taking time to just gently pat that into the base of the bowl, and it will come off really easy. So you have to be very gentle, use a gentle touch. So let's put another piece on. We don't want to layer this too much because then it will take forever to dry, but we do want probably a few layers just to give it some strength. And you can let it come all the way up to the top. Don't really, well, it's up to you kind of how far you want to make it come up. But again, pushing gently, because it will just slide right out at this point when it's so wet. And I can feel a bubble under here, so I'm just going to tap that down. You have to be patient. And I'm just pushing this down. And it is okay. These are going to be kind of very textural and a little bit rough. They're not going to be super smooth, and that's part of the character of what we're creating. So don't worry if you have a few bumps and things in there. And this looks really fabricy still. After I get my layers on here, I'm going to spend a little bit of time just kind of trying to smooth that a bit. But you can see that's coming up the side. I get another piece, and I'm going to let this one kind of, see, I think I'll turn it sort of sideways. Hopefully you can see this all right. And if you want to have some points on there, that's okay. If you want it to be a little bit, you know, more just round and even at the top, I could even fold that down a little bit. That's going to make that edge a little bit stronger. And so again, look at that. Don't leave it just like that. You have to take that time to push it in really gently. If it looks really weird, you can probably just pull it right out, or if it's not like laying properly, just take it out and put it back on. All right, so we're getting there. But this is just a single layer. Now my bottom, the base, is getting quite a few layers on there just simply because each of these is sort of overlapping a bit. And so I'm not going to need to put anything else in that base once I get my sides covered. And you see it's not super fast. You have to really take the time. It'll be stronger if the pieces are really blended well together. So you don't want to just put them in there really fast without taking the time to do that. I think I will fold that over a little bit, rub that down. Same here, right here. You might even create an interesting edge if you want some points there. You can kind of decide how you want it to look. You can see I'm building up some water here. If it gets really a lot of water in there, just dump that into your bowl. All right, I'm going to put one more and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to proceed after that. So kind of to put on this edge. And again, you don't want to rip everything off. So really be careful as you put those layers in. And it's okay if you need to let them overlap a little bit with like onto themselves. If it's got a little fold in there and you just want to press that down, that's okay. Like right here, if I just wanted to push that down, because I don't mind a little texture here on this bowl. So I'm pushing this down. And again, I'm going to fold this edge over a little bit. And believe it or not, I'm kind of rushing through this. And so I could take a little bit more time as I add each piece. Okay, so you can still see, if it's not too dark, a lot of texture on this fabric. You can see a lot of the red still showing through. So I definitely need some more layers on these sides. Something that I could do, and you might want to dry your hands off. You don't have to wash them each time, especially if they get a lot of plaster. We're going to wipe them off before we put them in the sink again so we don't clog our sinks. We have some scissors. Don't go get our fresh scissors because this does get them kind of clogged up so they don't work as well. So we'll have a few pairs available. You can cut these to make them a little bit easier to deal with. So I'm just going to layer on the sides here to cover some of that up. And I'm not going to finish this whole entire bowl with you watching. I'm going to put these two pieces on. And I would probably put another couple pieces on. And if I wanted this to be stronger, I could cut some thinner strips and just do some layering. Again, you don't want it super thick because it's going to take a really long time to dry. So let's pretend like I've put another layer all around here. At this point, I am gently, I don't want to use too much pressure. And I know that's kind of, my lighting is not great here. But I am just going to take a little time and just really soft touch. And I'm letting, there's a little moisture in here. I'm kind of letting that follow my fingers around a little bit as I tilt the bowl. And I'm just taking some time to just blend and smooth this. And again, this is a part that needs another layer, but we're pretending like I put it on. But this, the more you smooth, the more that fabric texture will disappear. And it will start looking more like just a solid surface without so much fabric visible. And again, if you rub really hard, you're gonna pull all of this out. You probably don't want that to happen. So just really, really soft touch. And then as you finish up, or if it's cleanup time, you're just going to take any moisture that's left, just let that drip back into our container. and then we will put these in a safe place to dry.